Hello everyone and a very warm welcome to all the participants to this virtual Global Investment Convention 2023 10th edition. Now let's put a look upon one of the wonderful business locations in South America, that is Peru. The country is currently the 6th largest economy in Latin America and the 7th among the top 20 markets ahead of economies such as Colombia, Russia, Mexico and South Africa. Peru has a strategic location in center of South America, turning it into the most important subcontinental access door to the Pacific Basin. It has 22 free trade agreements established, whose market represent 79% of the world GDP. Currently, Peru is involved in 28 bilateral investment treaties. So let's discuss the business opportunities in Peru, South America. The total area of this region is around 1,28,05,216 square kilometer and the population is around 34.35 million. Also with that, the GDP is 268.235 billion USD. One of the countries with the largest biodiversity in the world, and a total of 591 USD is the business startup cost out here. Peru was ranked 46th in the World Talent ranking in 2022. Peru ranked 70th amongst the 132 economies featured in the Global Innovation Index in 2021. Also, it is the second country in the Latin America regarding the Human Capital Index for the growth of high-tech industry. The export and import statistics of Peru are as following. The export is majorly led by China, followed by USA, Japan, Canada and Korea. And the import is majorly led by China, followed by United States of America, Brazil, Argentina and Mexico. The GDP percentage by sector in Peru is as following. It is majorly led by service industry at 49.21%, then followed by industry at 35.4% and lastly agriculture at 6.97%. There are a number of reasons to invest in Peru, but to name a few, the research and science spending is amazing, infrastructure is quite progressive, internationality can be found, number of site options available, high-class staff can be hired, and quality of life is just amazing. The tourism sector in Peru is as following. The market is projected to reach around 1,838 million USD in 2023. The market expected to show an annual growth rate of 5.26% by 2027. The market's largest segment is package holidays with a projected market volume of 789 million USD in 2023. The tourism sector contributes to 3.9% of Peru's GDP and tourism industry generates 1.4 million jobs. Talking about the market share by segment in 2022 were as following. It was majorly led by package holidays, followed by hotels, followed by vacation rentals, cruises, camping, etc. and so on. The major players of tourism are as following. Now let's discuss the manufacturing sector in Peru. The market size was around 29.35 billion USD in 2021. The market grew by 19.35%. In 2021, 4 investments were made in manufacturing sector in Peru amounting to 152.6 million USD. The United States and Chile has represented 96.2% of these investments. The share of manufacturing industry to the GDP seems to be quite promising over the years. Here are the major players in the manufacturing sector of Peru. Now we have got the IT and ICT sector of Peru. The ICT market in Peru was valued at 4.6 billion USD in 2021 and accumulative revenue generation opportunities for ICT in Peru are estimated at 29.81 billion USD between 2022 to 2026. Peru ended Q2 2022 with 41.1 million active mobile lines. Also with that, Peru has the 5th highest mobile penetration rate in South America. The ICT companies' leadership percentage is as following. As you can see, it is majorly led at 56.40% by Telefonica, followed by Claro. Then we have got Ynet, Optical Technologies, Intel, Wow, and so on. Here are the major players in IT and ICT sector of Peru. Now we have got the textile sector in Peru. The apparel market is expected to amount 5.7 billion USD by 2023. And the market is expected to grow annually by 3.13% by 2027. This sector includes more than 46,000 companies and supports around 4 lakh direct jobs. More important imports from Peru is fabric and yarns, and it contributes to 5.7% of country's manufacturing. Talking about Peru's top textile imports, as you can see, is majorly at 52.61% from China. Then we've got India, United States, Bangladesh and Colombia. Here are the major players in textile sector. The food sector in Peru is as following. The market share of food market is expected to reach around 803.60 billion USD by 2023. The market is expected to show an annual growth rate of 20.1% by 2027. Peru is the third largest export market in US consumer food products in South America. The industry generates more than 3,42,000 jobs each year, and there are 3,000 food processing companies in Peru. Talking about the market share by food segment, it is divided between these particular items, and here are the major players in food sector of Peru. We have got the healthcare sector of Peru, which is quite progressing. The healthcare segment in Peru is projected to grow by 14.46% by 2027. The market is expected to reach around 232.90 million USD by 2027, and Peruvian health expenditure is projected to reach around $853 per person by 2026. There are around 21.6 thousand healthcare facilities in Peru, and Peru spends 5.5% of its GDP on healthcare. Talking about the values in USD million, as you can see, it has been growing over the years, and here are the major players in healthcare sector of Peru. These are the world-class trade fairs and exhibitions conducted out here, and these are the associations and chambers associated with us. Thank you.
And now I would like to introduce our GIC Edition 10 Gold Partner from Peru, and I'm pleased to invite Mr. Daniel Córdova to present investment opportunities in Peru.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. I'm happy to be here with all of you. My name is Daniel Córdova, and I am the director of the Business Investment Promotion Division at PromPeru. PromPeru is the government agency in charge of promoting exports, tourism, and foreign direct investment into Peru. And we are going to present now a few slides which contain valuable information about Peru as a country of opportunities for foreign investments. Now, our strategy for presenting Peru is to present our country based on three groups of attributes. First, Peru as a resilient country, Peru as a facilitator country, and Peru as a diverse country. Each of these groups contains several characteristics or strengths that showcase Peru as a country which is friendly to foreign direct investment and that offers opportunities and offers the proper conditions for foreign companies and businesses to establish in our country. First of all, Peru as a resilient country. Why invest in Peru? Peru as a resilient country has shown for the past almost 3 decades strong macroeconomic soundness, which is the result of prudent economic policies, both on the fiscal and on the monetary front. To that extent, Peru has maintained a strong and sound fiscal policy of propelling fiscal savings and also being very careful about expenses by the government, by the central government. And as a result of this, in many years, in the past 3 decades, Peru has shown even fiscal superavits, fiscal surpluses. And in some years, when Peru has shown fiscal deficits, it has been on average between 1 or 2% of GDP, so relatively mild and under total control. And as a result of this, also the fiscal position in Peru has been one of the strongest among Latin American countries. On the monetary front, on the other side, the Central Bank of Peru is an autonomous entity which has its sole objective is to control inflation. And it has an inflation target scheme which goes, and this inflation target is between 1 and 3% per year. So right now, Peru is showing one of the lowest inflation rates in Latin America. Of course, it is now around between 5 or 6 and 6%. It is above the upper level of the target limit, as it's also happening with many countries in Latin America. But even though this situation, Peru is one of the countries that has the lowest inflation rates in the region. And as a result of this macroeconomic soundness, is that Peru has been showing a steady and above the region's average GDP growth rates. So in 2021, Peru experienced the sharpest recovery or the strongest recovery among its Latin American peers after the COVID pandemic. So it was a very strong, a very rapid recovery from that recession, showing an outstanding performance instead of economic activity recovery among its peers. And also, this combination of sound macroeconomic policies has allowed many multilateral organizations and investment banks to forecast that Peru this year and next year would be among the most dynamic economies in the Latin American region, showing an average rate of growth between 2.5 and 3%. So this is outstanding in the terms of the Latin American context, even though Peru is right now also doing several structural reforms and also propelling some of the most important infrastructure investment projects in order to increase its GDP growth potential above the 3% GDP growth rate. But one of the something that reflects the positive trend in Peru in recent years, it has been that in the last 20 years, from 2002 to 2022, Peru has been one of the countries with the highest rate of economic growth in Latin America, averaging approximately 4.6%. In terms of financial indicators, also one of the indicators that is very followed and studied by financial investors and also investors worldwide is the country risk. In terms of the indicator of country risk by the Emerging Markets Bond Index, Peru in April of this year has been positioned as the second best country risk, or having the second best country risk in the region, only above Chile. And this has been a position that Peru has maintained for the past 2 decades, at least. So consistently, Peru has been one of the best country risk indicators in the region. Currently, around 200 basis points is above the yield of the 10-year bond of the US, the Treasury bond of the US. So it's an outstanding performance, a consistent performance that has shown this resilience that Peru has throughout the decades and throughout many administrations, whether they are inclined to, whether they are more conservative or more liberal in terms of economic management of the economy. But despite this, Peru has maintained this country risk very, very low, which is something that has enabled the financial system in Peru, and not only the Ministry of Economy, but also the financial system in Peru and several banks and other financial institutions inside the country, to issue debt at very comfortable interest rate levels, which has allowed precisely the economy to continue flourishing and continue developing and continue financing internally at a very affordable rates. In terms of the other criteria, why invest in Peru? The other part of the answer is that Peru is a facilitator country. Peru brings most of the conditions and strives through its public sector, also working in tandem with the private sector in Peru, to provide the conditions that are necessary for foreign companies to establish in Peru and to have a soft landing in our country. To this extent, for example, it's noteworthy to mention that Peru is highly integrated into the world economy through multiple trade agreements to begin with. Right now, Peru has 22 free trade agreements, which encompass more than 50 countries around the world, including, for example, the European Union, China, the US, and other major economies in the world. And these trade agreements reach out to more than 80% of the world's GDP, more than 40% of the world's population, and currently more than 90% of Peruvian exports, actually the number is like 92 or 93% of all Peruvian exports, are covered or are performed under the coverage of these free trade agreements. So, and also Peru is right now in the process of securing new trade agreements and engaging into conversations to optimize some trade agreements, mostly with Asian nations such as China, India, and also Indonesia. So this is an ongoing work by the Peruvian government, and this has not changed, whether depending on the inclination of the government or the past administrations in the last 2 to 3 decades. It has been a continuous trend, a sustained trend, that all administrations in Peru, all governments have been eager to continue opening the economy to the world and signing free trade agreements. Besides that, Peru has 28 bilateral investment treaties and also 9 agreements to avoid double taxations with mostly European and Latin American countries. But also Peru is continuing this trend of searching new partners, new nation partners to sign new bilateral investment treaties or these double taxation avoidance agreements with. So this demonstrates the country's ability and emphasis to continue opening the economy. Besides that, Peru also occupies, is among the first places in the region when we talk about soft landing variables, such as what is the cost of opening a company in Peru, how many days, and how many, what's the number of procedures, of administrative procedures that a foreign company has to engage in order to establish a company in Peru. So we have one of the lowest numbers of days, of number of administrative procedures, and one of the lowest costs in the region when a foreign company wants to establish a subsidiary or a company, a third-party company here in our country. And this is something that the government or the Peruvian state continues to facilitate and to simplify many administrative procedures to make life and businesses even easier for foreign investors. Also, it's very important to note that Peru's degree of innovation and technological adaptation is currently evolving faster than its level and the level of development currently, that the current level of development that Peru can showcase in many of the rankings worldwide. So that is a very encouraging sign that Peruvian companies, the Peruvian government, and Peruvian organizations in general terms are quickly adopting many technologies, are very open to innovation, very open to continue adapting new ideas and trends and to continue establishing business relations and synergies with foreign partners, whether they are foreign startups, foreign business associations, foreign nations, or cooperation agencies as well. So the innovation ecosystem in Peru has been flourishing for the past few years, and that has rendered as one of the results that the number of startups in Peru has increased several times in the past decades. So this is an ecosystem that ultimately contributes to the development of the country by increasing productivity, by increasing also the availability of services and products available domestically in Peru, and also propels the growth of exports. Then another criteria that investors should consider for investing in Peru is that we have a legal framework that protects and encourages and that enshrines foreign direct investment. We have a set of laws that come even from the constitution, from our political constitution, that protect investment, protect foreign investment, and also provides incentives that encourage investments. To this extent, we have legislative decrees and also a set of laws that guarantee that foreign investors will receive the same treaty as a Peruvian investor. And this is also evident in all administrative procedures, all steps that a company must undertake to set up a business or to increase its social capital, for example. There is no distinction between a foreign company and a Peruvian company, or a foreign investor or a Peruvian investor. So laws guarantee an equal treaty for all of them. And this is something that has not changed for many administrations. This is something that also has been enshrined. As I mentioned, it's enshrined in our political constitution, but also it's very, very embedded in the fabrics of both the public sector in Peru and the private sector. Finally, the third answer to the question, why invest in Peru in general or macroeconomic terms? Because it is a diverse country. Peru has a biodiversity and a diversity in many senses that provide comparative advantages to investors. Peru is, for example, among the 7 most diverse countries in the world in terms of ecosystems, in terms of species, natural resources, and indigenous cultures. Then we also have an outstanding ecological diversity in terms of climates, ecological soils, and productive ecosystems, which, of course, provide all the background and the foundations for the development and the growth of many natural products, such as in agriculture, in fishing, and ingredients that could also be devoted to the development of many manufacturing industries, such as cosmetics and pharma and biohealth. So we are eager to receive investors who would like to explore further what Peru's natural resources can offer them. Of course, there is an emphasis in our country to protect biodiversity, to protect climate conditions, and also to protect our natural resources, but also an openness both from the public sector and the private sector to receive investors who are willing to propose a way of exploit responsibly these resources. And of course, this amplifies the array of industries that could be developed in Peru, also including tourism, for example. Now I would like to share with you a few thoughts about some key sectors for attracting foreign direct investment into Peru, mostly to talk a bit about tourism, high technology, food industries, textile industry, and manufacturing. Of course, taking into consideration that we are going to share briefly a few ideas with you, but you are most welcome to contact us in order to learn more about these sectors and also other industries that you might be willing to explore in Peru. To begin with, food industries. Why invest in food industries in Peru? First of all, part of the answer has come from what I mentioned before. Peru is a mega diverse country with soils and climates suitable for different crops and with excellent conditions for the export of high quality fresh fruits. We have seen this in the past decades with the explosive, very, very rapid growth of Peruvian export in this industry, exporting fruits and vegetables, both fresh and processed, to the rest of the world, and also surpassing some well-known countries such as Chile in terms of some specific products. And we are also in the process of continuing increasing this production and sophisticating the value added of all the products derived from, which are derived from our agricultural production. Peru has a great biological diversity as well. Our Peruvian coastline provides access to more than 1,000 species of fish, with potential for direct human consumption. And also something to note, which is very important, both for food industries, but also for other manufacturing industries in Peru that investors would like to explore, is that at the regional level, at the Latin American level, in the past few years, Peru has been consistently registering the most competitive costs of industrial services, such as in the case of access to water for industrial consumption, electricity costs, natural gas rates, and other basic inputs into production or into manufacturing. So this is something that is worth to consider. Peru has just to highlight, the electricity costs in Peru are among the lowest in the Latin American region because of the richness of Peru's offer in terms of sources of energy, mostly thermal right now and hydro. But also because there is a lot of installed capacity currently in Peru in terms of plants that generate electricity. So it's a proper time to be in Peru in terms of these industrial costs. In terms of the tourism sector, also, Peru is a country full of opportunities for investing in tourism activities, mainly in the hotel industry. So we have great ratings in terms of archaeological resources, natural resources, and touristic destinations. The gastronomy as well in Peru and cultural destination are very well-known attributes that place Peru in a very strong position among its peers, not only in emerging markets, but of course in Latin America, above many countries, in terms of the attractiveness of coming to Peru, with the possibility and the potential to invest in the hotel industry, for example, for several segments, whether if it's the wellness segment, or tourists that want to go to the Amazon region or to the Andes, to the Andean region, or close to archaeological sites such as Machu Picchu, for instance, Caral in the northern part of Peru as well, Chan Chan, which is in the La Libertad region. So there are many. We are a country with many varied touristic destinations, which are of course very suitable for investors who would like to explore opportunities in the tourism industry. Also, we are a Pacific air trade hub because of our location. Location of Peru is right by the Pacific coast, facing all the Asian nations across the Pacific, and also it's the gateway to Asia for many Latin American countries, which is one of the reasons why Peru is a natural air trade hub and touristic hub that is also eager to receive investments on that front. And many of the airports in Peru have been developing, but there are many other sites and and cities where airports could be built, and which are very close to touristic destinations. And also something important to mention here is that Peru has an incentive which is called the RERA, the Regime for Anticipated Recovery of the VAT tax. The VAT tax in Peru is 18% currently, but for investment projects that have an amount of over $2 million of investment, then the Peruvian government provides this incentive, this tax incentive, which is to the return of the 18% VAT tax to the investor. So this is something that is valuable to take into consideration. Why Peru? Why invest in Peru in terms of the high-tech sector? I already mentioned that Peru is a country that is currently well-positioned and fastly developing in terms of the degree of innovation that its companies are trying to incorporate in its processes, both startups and medium-sized companies, large companies and corporations in Peru are investing quickly in high technology capabilities and also in innovation. There is a flourishing ecosystem in Peru composed of not only of startups, but also of incubators and accelerators, which are financed by the academia, by universities, by companies and large corporations as well. And there is also a increasing degree of integration of this innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem in Peru with the rest of the world. So based on these strengths is that Peru has been in the past years improving its position in some of the indexes, in some of the rankings worldwide. For instance, in the Global Innovation Index of last year, Peru has improved 5 positions globally. And for the second consecutive year, it has been ranked among the innovation architect countries, which are those that have obtained innovation results which are superior in relation or compared to the degree or level of development that that country has. So what that means is that Peru is currently experiencing leaps in innovation and progress in innovation, which is more than what would be expected from Peru based on its current level of economic development, which also is very good because it builds the foundation for further growth of the GDP potential of Peru. And also it's important, just one of the examples for this is that also Peru is a country where investments in the fiber optics network have been accelerating at a quick pace in recent years. And this has made possible that many data center companies, for example, and also contact centers and call centers, but mostly data center companies in the region and also from the US and Europe, have been interested in exploring the opportunity or the possibility to expand their operations in Peru, to come and establish themselves in Peru, which is also something very encouraging sign. And I would like to finish this part by mentioning also that the startup ecosystem is currently showing in Peru important opportunities in many areas or many segments devoted to attending different sectors, such as, for example, fintech, e-commerce, edtech, health tech, logistics as well, and mine tech. So these are some of the fields where Peru is having an increasing presence in the Latin American ecosystem of startups. Just to be, we are close to finish this presentation, and I would like also to mention why invest in the textile industry in Peru. The textile industry in Peru is one of the strongest that we present to investors. A sign of this is that Peru is one of the top 3 foreign direct investment destinations in Latin America that comes to the textile industry. There is a vertical cluster in the textile industry in Peru, which comes also, or which is based in the fact that Peru has a wide availability of top quality input for the textile industry. We are, for example, first in Latin America in terms of the population of alpacas, sheep, and vicuñas. We are second in the population of llamas. So we have a top quality source of the natural resource of the raw materials that can foster a textile industry here. And then also we are developing quickly the other segments of or the other parts of the value chain of the textile industry, such as the garment manufacturing, such as, for instance, also in the field of preparation and spinning of textile fibers, and also in the last part of this value chain, which is the retail industry of clothing and footwear. And also something to highlight is that Peru is one of the countries with the highest forecasted growth rates in the region for 2023 and 2024, at least, by several investment banks and specialized agencies that survey the textile sector. And they showcase that Peru is one of the countries that have the best prospects or the best growth perspectives in Latin America in this industry. Finally, why invest in manufacturing in Peru? There are several opportunities that arise in Peru One of them are based on the very, very competitive costs that I already mentioned in terms of the access to water for industrial use, electricity as well, and the natural gas rates. And based on these strengths are that Peru has been building a specialty field in several subsectors with investment opportunities, such as the supply and services to mining, because Peru is the second largest producer of many base metals and also precious metals among Latin America and in the world. The metalworking industry as well, because it's a dynamic subsector that provides intermediate and final goods to the automotive, agricultural, and mining manufacturing industry. Then also we have the containers and packaging industry. It has positioned itself based on the proficiency that many private companies in Peru have obtained. It is well positioned in Latin America and has begun for many years now exporting products in the containers and packaging field to many Latin American countries and even to the United States. And finally, the constructions material industry, which has achieved a significant international expansion of finishing products. So the growth prospects are of GDP growth in this sector to continue growing at a fast pace compared to Latin American peers. Overall, I would like to thank you all for the opportunity to share these thoughts with you. And we have presented here some glimpses of why invest in Peru in general terms, why invest in Peru in some specific industries, but we would like to invite all of you to come and see Peru for yourself, to explore business opportunities, to explore investment opportunities, not only in these sectors, but in many other sectors that we are also eager to provide information, advice, and also to go with you along all the way during this process of exploration and set up, of course, help you all along the way. So please feel free to contact us.